bit more free and breezy and easy. That's cheesy. Remember me? This feels a bit weird. I had to psych myself up to do this. But hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about books. I've been off Booktube for a couple of months and I feel like I owe a bit of an explanation to those who've been subscribed to my channel. I don't know where this is going to go, so sorry if you are not into oversharing, if it's not your thing, but my name is Sarah and I am an oversharer. So where to start? I guess life just was really busy. My job is effectively 2 roles in one, so that's really draining. And obviously there was general Christmas stuff as well. And then we had a new addition to our family who keeps me kind of busy. he's just, I must know I'm talking about him because he's just come over. Do you want to say hello? Come here, baby boy. Oh, this is Hamish. He is our new puppy. He's 11 months old, so nearly not a puppy anymore. He is a Romanian rescue. Did I say his name? This is Hamish, yes. So we've got no idea what breed he is. I think he looks a bit, maybe some collie in there, maybe some basset hound. I thought corgi as well because he's got funny little stuffy little legs. But he is just incredible. He's so snuggly. He's actually just flopping over my arms here. This is not a flattering angle for him because he's super cute as well. He's just amazing. I absolutely love him. He's the best thing we could have done as a family. Yes, you are. You're my baby boy. So he's come from Romania, but he's pretty chill actually. He just loves love, but he is quite anxious about being left alone. We did have a bit of a traumatic start to life together in that respect. The first time he was left alone, he remodeled the carpet in my living room. It totally ripped it up by the door, but he well, before the Christmas holidays he had settled more into being on his own and was getting more comfortable with that. I don't know how he's going to react now that I've been off work for 2 weeks and with him pretty much every day. We might be right back at the start, but other than that, oh no, he does like to chew. He does like to chew as well. So I've lost a couple of pairs of shoes. We've lost a book, thankfully not one of mine. It was one of the kids' Christmas ones, but not a very good one. So that's not too bad. And he loves a sock. So he's often nicking socks out the laundry basket as well. But he's just amazing and I love him so much. And yeah, he keeps me busy. So we got him at the start of November as well, so that kind of put paid to 2 videos at that point. And then I really started to struggle with my mental health. So I guess before I get into this, not so much well, a little bit of a trick, sorry. It's just crashing into all of my video stuff here. But yeah, a little bit of a trigger warning if you don't like people talking about their weight. And you know, just mental health in general. There's nothing like traumatic here. I'm not going to be talking about anything too specific or anything, but just in case you don't like that sort of thing, or if you've never met me before and this is the first time you've ever watched one of my videos, I will put a link in the description box below to skip ahead to when I actually talk about bookish stuff. But yeah, I've been struggling with my mental health. It's been very low for quite a few months now. I don't know if that's because of winter or a combination of other things. I don't know. I do think my weight is playing a part, both as a symptom and as a contributing factor, because I'm now the biggest I've ever been. The last video I actually recorded, I didn't post. It was my reading vlog for the Jury's 24-hour readathon at the end of October, which I did do. I completed. I made good reading time and things, but when I was editing the footage, I just couldn't stand to look at myself. So who knows how I'll feel with this one. And just in general, that's how I've been feeling. I don't like being seen. I was really super anxious on a Christmas night out that I went on because of that, and I was actually really relieved that some restrictions were put in place over Hogmanay. And I'm also really feeling the effects of my weight as well. So like I'm really breathless, to the point where I can't really do any exercise, and I'm just so tired all the time, which then has an impact on my work, which makes me feel like like I'm a fraud and I'm crap at my job. And I'm also really upset about my inability to address my weight. That's making me feel a bit useless, a bit trapped. So I seem to have totally lost my ability to manage my relationship with food, and obviously the knock-on of that is my weight. And to make it worse, I got my final master's result in December, and now you might not know this. So given that my MSc is in obesity and weight management, it kind of felt a bit of a sick joke that I managed to end up with a distinction overall. Like, obviously I'm really proud of myself. It's probably the biggest accomplishment of my life. Like an MSc is no joke. And I did it, whilst working full time, whilst my marriage was imploding, and whilst I ended up as a single mum. And I am so proud of that, and I'm also very relieved it's over. But the fact I have this like master's level knowledge of the subject, but still can't get myself healthy, has played on my mind a lot. And I have, chalked it up to like this massive failure. And then there's been other stuff with my ex and how his life choices are impacting on my children. So it's just been a lot of stuff, and I've just felt, and I still feel like I am wading through mud about to go under. And so with all of that, my motivation to make videos or do much of anything at all, it just went. And that includes reading as well. I hit the biggest reading slump I have ever had, and that's when I knew that, sorry, someone in a loud car, that's when I knew that it was bad, because reading's always been like my safe space, my way to escape how I'm feeling. I did manage to read, and I will do a video on Wednesday talking about the books that I read in those last couple of months of 2021, but it wasn't much. And so even if I could have made videos, I didn't have anything to make them about. So that kind of explains why I've been away. But something has lifted, with the reading part at least. Particularly in the past week, I seem to have found my reading mojo again, and I'm so excited about that. And hand in hand with that goes wanting to talk about books and reading again. And so the first thing to talk about is how I'm going to approach my reading in 2022, and I'm going to learn from my experience, because if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll probably know that I am a planner when it comes to my reading. I am a spreadsheet queen, but I have so many obligations and deadlines and responsibilities that I don't want my reading life to feel like another part of that. I want it to be an escape again. I want it to be my safe place, and I found that my reading slump definitely eased when I stopped looking at how behind I was on my reading goal. I'd set myself a goal of reading 100 books last year because I'd read 100 the year before, and I had it all planned out in a spreadsheet, and I could see how behind I was getting, and that was not helping me feel like I was on top of things. And so I only read 70 books only. I mean, the actual insanity that being in the book world can make you. I read 70 books last year, which was 30 less than I had planned to. And I kind of got to a point where I thought, well, this is silly. Why am I trying to catch up? It's never going to happen. And I just picked up what I wanted to. And I've taken that into the new year, and it has totally hit the reset button on how I feel about reading. And that's something I want to continue with as the year progresses. So I'm mood reading for 2022. Kind of arbitrarily, I have set myself a reading goal of 71 books, but that is basically is purely based off reading 50 pages a day, because I do want to keep up momentum. So I kind of set a goal that way, but really I don't care if I meet it. I just want to read what I want to read and when I want. Although having said that, I do have a few commitments for this year, because I am signed up again as a Booktube prize judge again this year, and I've gone for all 3 categories. So that is fiction and non-fiction, but also the new category, which is translated works. And if I remember correctly, I think that's 4 rounds where you read 6 books for each round. So that's, you know, like up to 24 books if I get different books for every round. So 24 books for that. And I would also quite like to try and keep pace with my Shelterbox book club picks too. So that's another kind of 12-ish books. And, you know, I quite like to get on top of my NetGalley as well. I think there's currently about 16 books sitting on my NetGalley shelf, although 3 of those are not, they're not the sort of books you have to read from cover to cover. There's one on photography, there's one on enneagrams, enneatypes. I can't remember what the third one's for. But, you know, even with that takes me up to something like over 50 books, I think. So already I've removed a lot of the wriggle room for mood reading. But, you know, the NetGalley aim and the Shelterbox one, they aren't priorities, so I can be flexible with that if I want the mood reading to be more the focus. So that's where I am and where I hope to go with my reading in 2022. In terms of my channel, I really want to get back to regularly updating, you know, regularly posting a video on a Saturday. Hopefully my Wednesday shelf indulgent updates too, but that's only if I have time, because I'd rather spend my free time catching up with the channels that I subscribe to watch the people that I enjoy talking about books. I haven't been doing that recently very much either, and I really miss hearing what everyone has to say. I'd also quite like to post a bit more on Instagram, but I have literally never managed to get into a rhythm with Instagram, so nobody hold your breath around that one, but it's a thought. So yeah, that's my plans for 2022. Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you if you're still watching. How are you approaching this year in reading? Are you going down the planning route, or are you being a bit more free and breezy and easy? That's cheesy. I am so rusty with this. What was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, what's your reading approach to 2022? Are you going to be doing the Booktube prize, or do you have any other commitments, things you'd like to achieve in your reading this year? Let me know in the comments below, or if you've done a video about it, let me know and I will go and check it out. And so now I've broken the seal. Hopefully we can get back to talking about books properly in my next video. So until then, bye. So nice. Stop it. Stop it. You are wrecking the joint.